Okay, it is 1:30. I will call our regular April commission meeting to order. Commissioner Dory and Murray myself is present. Mr. Stokoe is on Zoom. Can you hear us, Rick? Okay, Commissioner Peterson said he wasn't gonna be here. I don't think he'll be on Zoom either. If we could do introductions. We can start with you, Brandy.
Brandy Porter.
Mark Patton from Morrow.
Susan Middlesbrough for tomorrow. Ivan Hendricks for tomorrow. Karen Becker. Sue Oliver. Corey Griggs. Corbin Chamber. UC. Sage. Erica Moore for tomorrow. Okay, and then we'll go to online. We'll start with Commissioner Stokoe.
Sam Tucker, Portomoro, attorney.
Rick Stokoe, I had to find the unmute button.
David Albert Castillo.
Thank you. John Doherty.
John Doherty, City of Hebner.
Thank you. Matt Jensen.
Matt Jensen, Morrow County.
Marcine.
Marcine Brigham, Portomoro.
Jackie. Jackie, can you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Yes, Jackie Iserman here on my own behalf.
Thank you. Dave Sykes
Dave Sykes, Morrow County Commissioner.
and Griffin Beach.
Griffin Beach, Elkhorn Media Group.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We will move on to our public comment period. Frank, we'll look at that. Okay. So you're on the list,
Is there a protocol?
well, we don't have very many go through. I think it's 2 minutes. Is about what we do. I think we're pretty, yeah, we're pretty easy to go. So you have to.
I won't overdo it, Mr. Chair, I promise. Thank you. My name is Sue Oliver. I am a citizen of North Morrow County. I am here today because you are my fourth stop on my tour of each of the governing bodies that were signatories to the 2014 amendment agreement concerning the Columbia Development Authority. In that agreement, each of these bodies provides one member of the board. That board is currently a mess, to put it mildly. So I have started going to each of I started with the Morrow County Commission. I've spoken with the Umatilla County Commission. I gave comment at the Board of Umatilla's meeting yesterday. And my message to each of the boards is to ask you at this juncture to instruct your representatives at that board to start the process that, from what I have been able to determine, only one board member has been screaming for at least a year since he got there, which is Mr. Tubby, which is this board needs processes, procedures, bylaws. The mess that they are in right now could have probably been avoided by having the processes in place. And I was surprised at the Board of Umatilla, those commissioners seem to think that this agreement is the operating bylaws of that board. So I just want to remind you that what the agreement does in section, let's see, 3I and 3J gives you the power, the authority, the duty and responsibility to make, pass, or adopt resolutions, bylaws, orders, and protocols which are necessary or convenient for the governance, management, operation, and execution of the powers vested in the authority. Can also prescribe by resolution or bylaws a system for business administration and to create all necessary offices or positions associated with such a system. It also includes all kinds of things about the authority granted to this board to hire and fire its own employees, all of that. None of that, from what I can tell, has been put in place. And this is where I've seen it again and again. I have many years of experience as staff in the Environmental Quality Commission, staff at the Energy Facility Siting Council. I get it, the staff are important, you're elected officials, you're not expected to know each and every little detail. But I'm just here to remind you, you signed up for this job, paid or not paid. And it requires you to fulfill the responsibilities of the position. And I feel in this case, each and every one of the boards, with the exception of the Confederated Tribes, has a representative on the CDA that can't seem to push back and take charge of this. And I very much challenged Mr. Puzzi as current chair of the CDA yesterday, that if Mr. Tubby is requesting agenda items, it is the chair's and the board's responsibility to discuss those and decide on those things, not the staff's. The staff is to provide the information, you're the decision making ones. So I see you have a CDA update. I understand there's a million lawsuits. I have had a dozen people reach out to me in various ways to tell me everything that's going on in the background. To me, it's like, I'm not here for that. I am here to try to hold my elected officials accountable. And right now, that board represents an utter failure. And we need to fix it. And so at this point, I am asking each and every one of you, Mr. Taylor, currently the rep on the board, to support Mr. Tubby's agenda items. Let's get some of this stuff on the agenda. Regardless of everything churning in the background, there is no reason this particular stuff wouldn't start at Morrow County's meeting last week, and Commissioner Sykes can correct me if I get this wrong. They did put it on the agenda, and Mr. Wentholz will be bringing some templates, some examples to present to the board. These examples exist on the Oregon websites, from Association of Oregon Counties to the state. There are model rules, bylaws, procedures for virtually every government body in the state. And I know there's one for the CBA. We need to get it in place, and if people don't take action quickly, it's only going to get worse. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Was there any other public comment? Okay. Next is our consent agenda. We have two items on it. Everybody should have those.
Have a chance to review them, so I would move approval of the consent agenda as presented, please.
I would second that.
Okay, John moves, Kelly seconded. To approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on those? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimous. Next is legislative updates. I don't see.
I just handed you a printout from my, she apologizes for not being here, so she just sent a report that you can review.
Okay,
And we all know we're kind of short on time since we have private meetings, so.
yeah, so you're okay to review that on your pleasure there?
And Kirby is also not available.
Okay, next is old business, CDA update. So on there, we have the last meeting, we had a budget, we also had a budget meeting for CDA. Not much got done there. The budget committee wanted to get direction from the board, since we don't have the grant anymore. So I'm not sure what that's gonna look like. I need some input on that. If that might look.
There might be time to discuss that during the budget meeting, should you choose to do so, because there is a line item
Okay,
on the budget.
I was wondering how is payment of staff happening at the CDA?
Currently, we're still paying them.
And the application for past funds is in the works.
Yes.
Okay. And we must obviously still be the fiscal agent in order to do that. So I assume that when that's done, we'll withdraw as fiscal agent. Or at least that's what we talked about anyway.
That is our.
Is there a special step for that? Or just a letter?
Well, I pretty much already did it.
Yeah.
But yes, yes, a letter would be appropriate.
Well, I just didn't have much, there wasn't much going on that I remember.
So we're kind of combining A and B into one conversation here.
Okay,
So we did send the termination to OLDCC, we did receive confirmation back from them that they received it. And Irene and I had a call about the process for the reimbursement, so we will be sending reimbursement for the first 3 quarters up through February 21. And we will be reducing the request of that reimbursement by the overpayment of wages for Greg Smith on the 1st.
Let's just call it the retroactive payment of wages.
We're doing what with that?
We had approval when we did it.
We're deducting the increase in wages for Greg Smith for the first.
OLBCC isn't going to pay it, so we just are not including it. It's what?
So are we adding that to the bill that everybody else owes us? We should. It's not our responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility to pay the staff. We shouldn't be doing that.
yeah, I agree, we should add that,
That's my opinion about all of it.
yeah.
Right.
And I think we made that clear as well.
We did, and absolutely nobody stepped up.
I think we need to start, with the letter of, make a motion that Eileen draw the letter and put a date certain on it, and I think that forces their hand to actually make some decisions, because they just keep putting the decisions off, the big decisions as well. And I think if we continue to nurse them along, they're gonna continue to play that game. And I think we need to just cut it off.
Withdraw this fiscal year, you're saying.
Withdrawals fiscal agent, yeah.
How much time might you need to get reimbursement back? I mean, I know it's budget season, so it's.
I don't know how, typically they would move quickly. I don't know how long they will take at this particular time. Should we? I mean, I'd like to set a time at like the end of a pay period so that we could give them the opportunity to pick the payroll up at
I would imagine we'd entertain any suggestion you have.
How long would it take them to get a person to do payroll? I mean, it's pretty easy to go to an accounting office and say, we need a payroll.
they've made contacts already.
Pardon me.
They have made contacts
Okay.
already.
Yeah, I think that was the ethics and staffing you talked about. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I
think
was
contact. See if that.
But along with that, arrangements need to be made to provide them with funding to pay that. And obviously reimbursement is going to work because they don't have any cash on hand to start with.
Right.
I thought they had 100,000 in the checking account.
They did have, but that apparently came from Port of Umatilla specifically to pay for whatever that other project is that Port of Umatilla was charged for. So we were charged for the parking lot and the explosion site, okay.
Yeah.
And so apparently those aren't funds available to operate.
Yeah, and I don't know what the balance would be in there.
It was a casual comment that I heard $3,000 is what they have.
Okay.
Gotcha. So then what are we gonna do when we're not this budget, we don't send any money to pay the employees? What's that?
I'm not sure what CDA.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kim
I don't think
Pusey,
it would be.
Kim Pusey said that he had told his board members they needed X amount of money to support the operations. And so I'm assuming that all of the partners would agree on that amount and pay them the money that they would then have to run on. At least until, yes, I mean, someone's gonna have to come up with some money to operate until there is resolution on purchase and sale agreements and lawsuits and a new property sale out there. that
I
we
did
can
hear
earn
good
funds.
news on the radio that Umatilla County and the Port of Umatilla are getting closer. It was on the radio.
Yeah,
talk show.
yeah.
So
They
hopefully
told us a week to 3 weeks ago, so.
We hope so. We just hope so. I would like to see if we can find a date to withdraw as fiscal agent. Not putting too much pressure on you during budget season, but then I'd like to hear how the CDA board discusses this topic. And then if they ask us to put money in, I mean, we put a lot of money in already. So, I would like to hear that. And if they have a request of the board of Morrow, I want to hear it from the CDA board. So just my feelings on
I
that.
think that's where I'm at too. They need to make that decision. That shouldn't be our decision.
Yeah.
Is there a date, Eileen, that we could throw out there? Possibly, or is that maybe a little premature?
You know, I could give you tomorrow if you wanted, but,
3 weeks, a month?
the next meeting is on the 21st. 23rd, 22nd.
Are you saying CDA board meeting? Whether our date is before the CDA board meeting or not, for them to have a date, I think is important. Yeah. Even if it's
I
after.
just feel very strongly that payroll needs to be covered until there is no more payroll, but you know what I mean? And so that is my big hesitation, but maybe that's all it takes is a letter to say, let me look at the calendar here. I don't know when their meeting is.
18th would be the end of this pay period.
The 18th. Okay, and then we pay on Monday, Tuesday.
The 22nd is our normal payday.
Okay, so let's just set the 22nd. And then, that's our meeting day.
CDA meeting day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. You want to do that or you
Yeah.
want to do something different? We're about staff. That we got a resolution to, we probably can't talk about it. Oh, good point. We can't talk about it in executive session. Okay,
Concerned about the
So
date.
I couldn't hear everything.
I had a question, kind of different. You stated you wanted payroll to keep going until you knew that it was covered.
Right.
Unfortunately,
right.
Is that because of employment law? stuff,
Well,
or-
yes, currently they are Port of Morrow employees. I mean, even though we're not directing them, they are our employees, and I'm sure any claims would go against the Port of Morrow.
Okay.
At least that's what my guess would be.
Sure.
And so if they work hours and they haven't been told to not work hours, which can only come from the CBA board, they need to be paid for the hours they work.
By the CDA.
You know, by somebody, like so our employee or belly is a.
Yeah, that's the
Issue.
the rough here.
members.
Yeah, until we
Which
get
is-
that established, I'm not comfortable continuing doing it. It's just month after month after month, nothing gets done there.
But to Eileen's point, we just can't not pay them and stay at trouble.
Well, it will force the CDA's hand to do
Yeah.
something.
It would.
They either figure it out and everybody comes together and works together. Or,
But if the 22nd is the pay, they're not gonna. There won't be anything past that for
Well,
work to occur, right?
okay, so we go to the next payroll after that to give the board notice that they need to get it taken care of in the next 2 weeks. Okay, so 2 weeks following that, whatever day that is.
I'm good with that.
So I'm of the opinion that we take care of payroll on the 22nd because they are a Port of Morrow employee. I worry about that. I would like to take care of the payroll to the 22nd, even if it's incurred more debt to us. And then give the notice on that day that we're done. And hopefully we can recover our funds from OLDCC by that date. And then at that point, it becomes.
They're not gonna recover, the funds would have
Well,
to
I
come
guess
from
my
the,
point is,
five
if we don't
pennies.
give notice till the 22nd, they're working Monday and Tuesday. Obviously, because there's a meeting on Tuesday.
The end of our pay period is the 18th. They don't get that paycheck until the 22nd, so they would be working Monday, Tuesday. So
Okay.
she's thinking the end of that. So you
So,
want to wait until the board meeting, because that's already in the next pay period.
so we'll have the notice in by the next board meeting to cut off at the following pay period end date, which is 2 weeks after the 18th.
May 2nd would be the last day of that pay period.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Sam.
So I think that the conversations are going the direction that I was hoping they would from a legal standpoint. So I think we have to give them enough time to reasonably take care of it, and 2 weeks after a pay period may be that time. I suggest that the letter would indicate that unless another agreement is reached with the Port of Morrow, so there is some flexibility there. But there is also this, if they are a port employee, then we have some real liability for them to work. And so I think that we probably need to terminate them as a port employee effective on that date, and let them notice that that would be the case. Does that make sense?
The only thing that I want to say here in this public meeting is we've got something we need to talk about that probably cannot be talked about in open session. And we don't have it advertised for executive session, so we can't address it today. And it's something that I don't think we have a resolution to ourselves. And we're gonna have to get that figured out.
You're saying it affects this conversation right here.
Okay, so if we give notice on the meeting on the 22nd.
Okay, I think what she's saying, so we are farther down in the agenda, we're going to be talking about a workshop date. And maybe we have an item of discussion on that date or some day before that.
workshop for CDA?
No,
Workshop for what?
Secondary treatment.
Yeah.
Oh,
But we can schedule an executive session to talk.
Right.
About what you're.
Right.
Right, Lisa?
Or we need to get answers so that we haven't had time to do that. Sorry to be cryptic, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get myself in
Okay.
trouble here.
Well. I think we still need to figure this out. If we give notice to the CDA. On the 22nd, and then we give them another 2 weeks. To find. Another,
Make other arrangements.
make other arrangements.
Okay.
That seems reasonable to me. If we find something in the meantime, maybe, with Lisa's discussion, maybe we can change it, but that seems reasonable to me.
and I think that letter needs to go out to all of their board members so that their board members know So a lot of times things don't get passed to the board members, as Joe can tell you. And so they can be prepared at that meeting to take care of this.
Okay, and we'll follow Sam's suggestion with a sentence unless another agreement is made with the Port Morrow.
Yeah, which I'll be a little reluctant to,
Yeah.
actually, so.
I don't disagree, like you say.
Okay, that sounds reasonable too.
So do we need a motion or?
I don't think so. You don't need a motion, you don't think you need a motion for that.
Okay.
We already got direction to staff.
We'll have the answer by Wednesday.
Okay.
And also on CDA, at our last meeting, John Schaefer did mention that they were close with the podium until. Hopefully that's getting closer.
And free up a lot of congestion in the whole process right now. Great.
Okay. Anything else on CDA?
What had happened with the fire service? Anything?
Nothing. Really wasn't discussed. It wasn't really discussed because CDA didn't have their.
So it's a topic for the agenda.
I'm hoping it's. She'll be able to attend this next meeting, so. Okay. All right.
Make sure it gets on the agenda.
Yeah. Anything else? You have anything, Rick? Any questions?
It was a silent now.
Yeah. Okay, good. Next is oil DCC update. You pretty much gave us that. Anything else to add on to there?
No.
Next is WIFIA update.
David is on the call. I can tell you that we are continuing to work through term sheet discussions with the WIFIA team. And we are meeting with them and DEQ, which is the next item on the agenda. But David, do you have anything?
No, we do have that meeting this week with DEQ and with tomorrow, actually, tomorrow morning. One thing that did change with the WIFIA process is that the gentleman that we had been working with as a senior underwriter had retired at the end of March. So we have a new underwriter on the team and we haven't really had a chance to visit with him to talk about process, but hopefully we'll be able to do that tomorrow morning.
Otherwise, nothing's changed from a month ago.
No, we did get the draft copy of the project fact sheet, so. We did have a couple of,
And what does that mean? What does that mean?
Press release.
Like, yeah.
It's like a press release, a media.
but we had a few comments on it.
It's not,
So,
yeah, it was draft. They wanted us to comment and send pictures before they sent it out.
but we've certainly never been asked for that before, so.
Okay.
That's generally that as Brandy, I think I heard her say, it's similar to a press release and it's what WIFIA typically does with all the projects that they fund, and that would be released to the public at or upon closing.
Okay, any other questions for staff or David? I gotta say, David, that's a pretty good looking hat.
Thank you, sir.
Glad you came prepared.
Just so.
He said he's not taking it off until I feel it.
Okay, CWSRF update, clean water, something or other, I haven't got that one figured out.
The update is David already gave it, meeting tomorrow, so. We'll learn more there. That one is $50 million for secondary treatment.
That's
And working in conjunction with the WIFIA team.
right. Okay. Next is Morrow County Clean Water Consortium.
We have a scheduled meeting, but I'm not sure.
I've got April 15th from 2:30 to 4 p.m. David Sykes on the call.
Yes, I'd like to turn it over and let Matt give a report on this, if it's okay with you guys. He's been setting up the next budget committee and so forth. Okay, Matt, is that all right with you? Oh, maybe he's not there. I guess I can report, we have, our next meeting is a budget committee meeting. The word went out to board members to come up with a couple of names. We need to get four budget committee members. We don't have to go, and as Eileen, your financial person, said, we don't have to go through a full-blown budget process, but we are going to have a budget, and we're gonna have a budget committee, so that's on the works there. We have a financial agreement with the county, that's about ready to get signed, financial services. And so I think that's the two things that I can report on that right now, so unless anybody's got any questions.
I don't have it.
Is the next meeting, did he say it was a budget meeting? It's just a regular meeting, isn't it, Lisa?
We're gonna be sending out there's Matt. Matt, you wanna give the update on that for me?
So the next meeting is just a standard board meeting for the Clean Water Consortium. We will be rolling out the schedule for the budget meetings with the budget committee and that at that time. But this one, meeting on the 15th is not a budget. We have to do notice and get the committee formed first. So this is just a normal meeting. We'll give some reports on some activities going on, and hopefully, we're still in the forming stage, but we anticipate seeing some action in hopefully the very near future as we apply the funds that the county and the port has put together, as well as other resources that we're exploring.
Good.
So I'd also like to let you know that we have received word that our payment on SEP to DEQ, OHA has agreed to let that money go to the West Glen project. So they're willing to turn that money over to Morrow County, and right now our attorney is working on negotiation on that final agreement, and we don't have Michael on the phone today, but that's taking place. So that's a big step.
To Morrow County or to the Water Consortium?
Morrow County.
Okay.
County's Westland project, which more, well, I guess that's the question for the budget committee.
I know I had a question on that too, for the county is, I heard that we hadn't applied yet for the grant. Is that correct? Does the county know?
What grant?
The congressional standing grant that we were okay, but we haven't applied yet. Is that anything that you know about, David? Mr. Sykes?
Yeah, I would like Matt to address that. You still there, Matt?
Kelly, is this in regards to the phase 2 CDS distribution you're talking about? Yes.
Yes.
So the phase 2 distribution, we are looking through applications possible for, well, we have been designated that money. We are trying to coordinate an application for the use of that funds before current federal administration thinks twice about it. And so we're working on that. We've got some ideas in place. Originally, this was set up for a study on specific items in unincorporated areas that might be challenged in connecting to water systems. We are looking to see what the options are. Just had some meetings with Irrigan and Boardman and some of our consultants on hand, and we're looking to pull that together and have some more discussions on that in the Clean Water Consortium. That one, West Glen's kind of an interesting issue because we're still trying to get it set up so we can we can get some progress going quicker than some of the CDS monies allows us to. Where we've actually applied for some state funding with the help of the port's lobbyists and that to help possibly get some money very quickly to get West Glen on track and with specific solutions. We're still looking for outreach in West Glen, and we're organizing that with information going out during the month of May and having targeted discussions with the property owners and if they're tenants in that area in June, and having a big town hall with those individuals so we can have discussions on specific options. So the CDS application, we're still working on it. We haven't finalized it, but we're looking to see which discussions. The SEP announcement, that's good news, great news. Allows more funds to go directly into that area. So that needs to be taken into consideration on where we apply the CDS phase 2 funds.
Matt, do you know the deadline on the CDS request?
There isn't a deadline on the phase 2 fund application. We just want to try to get it done and have some consideration into the EPA and that within the next few weeks. The longer we wait, we're afraid that more and more things might be pulled and funds pulled back that had already been approved. That hasn't happened yet, but we want to take that out of consideration. Unless we have the money in hand, there's an option that it might be pulled.
So Senator Wyden and Merkley's office usually request those early and way ahead of what the deadline is for those to go in.
That's who I talked to the other day, was Mr. Merkley's office, and they were kind of surprised and shocked that that hasn't been done yet. And we're urging us to get it done quickly.
Yes, that we had talked with Senator Wyden's as well. In fact, it's their office that encouraged us to get that in.
I will say that there was some good news. The legislative bill 1154 passed through the committee, and it does have language in there that would allow rural residents to hook up to septic and water services without changing the zoning, and kind of open that door for some really good language that would allow that to happen without a whole lot of strings and permits and those type of things. So if you get a chance to look at that, we should, as a consortium, we should make sure that that's the language that is going to help us.
And that was 1154, you said?
Yeah.
I'll take another look at that.
It's going into the rules committee, so now's the time to put our input in. If it's something that is going to help us.
Appreciate the heads up on that, Kelly.
Brandon, do they have a copy of this? Okay, so you got a copy of the letter we submitted for 1154. And I think Brian had testimony for that yesterday. Okay. Sorry about that, Matt. I just assumed that that CDS request went in with the rest of them at that earlier deadline, but they do ask for it way ahead of time. So I encourage you to get that in quickly.
So when you say get that in, is this I mean, this isn't with the ones that we just submitted recently. We did submit a CDS phase 3 already in there. This is for our application to the EPA for the CDS phase 2 that we have already been awarded.
Okay. That's okay. As long as 3 went in, that's what I was talking
Yes,
about.
the 3-1 is in. We did submit that. The application we're talking about right now is to firm up and show the government exactly where we're going to put the $1.32 million that that we pursued a year or two ago.
Okay. All right. So it's in.
Yeah, she was talking about 2. She was talking about that. Whatever needed to be turned in for 2 needed to be done.
Okay.
Those cases.
Yeah, just with the
Thank you. I think we're good.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, anything else on that, clean water? Okay. Any other old business?
I would just like to say thank you for your work on the Kinsu mill site. Went out to bid, notice here that went out to bid, so thank you very much for that work on that project. Appreciate that very much.
Okay,
That's a flood mitigation project.
Flood mitigation.
Mill site.
okay.
So we're gonna open bids on.
So what did you have to do to get there?
We had to get a letter from the county. We finally got the letter for the 1200 C for DEQ. We submitted that to DEQ. It's about a 30-day process. So that was submitted this week, the 1200 C. We decided to go ahead and get it out to bid so that when that permit comes available, we're ready to go. So hopefully in 2 months, we'll have somebody working there. Get a project with it. Great. Good. Hopefully the bid's coming good. So.
Anything else for other old business? Okay. Next is new business, letter A, secondary treatment update.
Consor is getting close to finishing 100% design. And we are looking at a different system also, batch reactor system, which is a series of lagoons that are aerated. We have Aqua Engineering taking a look and running it to ground on a feasibility study. And then on March 7th, May 7th, we'd like to have a workshop. And they're gonna walk everybody through what this new design will do. And it will not clean the water as much as the full secondary treatment we had proposed before, but it will take it down considerably. I can't give numbers right now, but we'll have those numbers May 7th. So,
And it's called batch, what?
batch reactors.
I think that was kind of a question, does May 7th work for everybody, because that's what works for the engineering. For our workshop, we have not
That's what
scheduled it
works
yet,
for Aqua to come in.
They're gonna be here that day.
They're gonna be here down there.
so we haven't scheduled it yet, or sent out an agenda, does that work for everybody?
Yeah, it works for me.
It's a long way away, but yeah. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
And are we on any kind of timeline on the secondary treatment? That's
We have to
in
submit,
strategy.
I think it's September 1st, right? We have to do a resubmittal by September 1st.
Okay.
So should say we do change to batch reactors, we'd have to have a design in by September.
We'd have to have the basis of design. by
A
September.
plan. Yeah.
Which
And we have it in
Future.
the yesterday. for DEQ.
I'm not sure on the price yet. We've been throwing around $38 to $50 million. We don't, but with this presentation, we're going to have O&M costs and construction costs on May 7th.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Next is new leases. There's something on here, Lisa, that
Well, we've got a lot of
I
new,
will tell you, when we did the agenda, we had nothing under new business. And then we added a whole bunch of new business and found ourselves in a 2-hour timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we have a new Salt Lake Airport lease of, I believe it's 20 acres out there now, correct?
Well, there's currently a 20-acre lease out
Yeah.
there.
We also have a Salt Lake East Beach lease, which is 20 acres.
so who is that?
They're actually a contractor for AWS. And these are all laid down yard leases.
Short term.
They call them parking agreements.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe the Salt Lake one at the airport is 3 years.
It's quite a while,
Yeah.
and they might need more.
Got it. We also have a Metro company that wants 3 acres at the airport to put a building up. Longer term lease, 10 years. We've recently executed our lease with Agri Northwest on the Patterson buried. There's a triangle of 110 acres worth of circles there. Which it's more market rate value now. It's $648 an acre now instead of what it was before. It is a year.
Those two fields.
Well, isn't there like three?
Two in the Pac-Man.
Two in the background or something like that. 110 acres.
Okay.
So it's 71,000 years.
Where's that at? This is something that's.
It's, you know where the potato sheds
Northeast
are,
side of Patterson.
right at the railroad tracks. We own the strip, that narrow strip between the freeway.
Where the old grapes were?
No.
No,
It would be on the east side of Patterson Ferry Road,
oh, east side. Okay,
between the freeway and the railroad tracks, all the way to the depot.
oh, okay.
We own that property.
Got it.
Okay. And the last one, we recently leased the north mill building on Fulton to support the P2H project. I think there's a couple more, but I didn't have time to look at them.
So. Yeah, B2H wants a bunch of land out there by the mill. Michael's is also out at the airport, we have 10 acres at the airport.
We did the DocuSign.
The DocuSign was for the Agri Northwest,
Yeah.
because that changed from 440 an acre to 648, which is a lot better for us.
And we got some temporaries over in East Beach by rail.
Yep,
Mhm.
and that's 6 monthly.
You're just offloading in the railroad area.
Yeah, so we have a 6 month and then we had like a 2 week project out there. Different companies.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. And on here, Farm 6 management agreement.
We put that on there because it was brought up at the last meeting. We've received a draft from Madison's attorney to our attorney. We're working through that. We've made comments at a couple meetings internally and back with Log again, so that will go back to Madison. So the negotiation is starting.
Okay.
I believe we have a meeting with Morrow versus Friday.
They're here tomorrow for another meeting.
Yeah.
Not for this. They're here to meet with Ivan and Jason.
The clerk was available. Friday.
Yes.
We need to sit down.
Maybe I did.
You don't see any hiccups or roadblocks there?
We've just started chatting.
One
Next is,
PM on Friday.
road ownership, Fort Drive to Marvin Ford Drive. Tell us about that.
And I think we're all in agreement between the city and the board that the board is going to take jurisdiction from Fort Drive. Instead, the city first brought up they wanted Margaret 40, but we're the ones that control the property between the apartments and the road. So we want to keep jurisdiction between them. So we're gonna, our next meeting, we'll probably have a resolution. Carla volunteered to write it up. So we'll have been executed by the board commission and the city council.
So say that again.
We're gonna take it, the port's gonna ownership from the Port Drive right out here in order to all the way down. Instead of the city taking it to Market Ford.
He keeps pointing the wrong direction.
No, it's right over
Wasn't that pointing that way?
No, your pen kept going this way.
Oh, let's pay attention to my pen.
So the other part of Marine Drive,
That's city.
City.
from the overpass to,
Mhm.
City.
okay, the city actually owns that.
And Joe's been on the commission long enough to know that this has been a discussion for
Yeah.
many, many years, the ownership from overpass to overpass. And so we're getting it all.
So we're getting it fixed.
And so there is some land on the west side of Market 40 Drive that we still own.
Yes.
Yes,
All the way from the apartments,
North, south of the apartment.
they have some commercial space in there and we have.
we have to bulk and share that
Yeah.
Another,
for commercial development. Offices.
Yeah.
Restaurants, whatever. Somebody wants to develop.
All right. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none. Okay, Chris, 2 amendments.
I would like to say on Pres 2 that Amazon has come to the port and county and city about modifications to the agreement for PDX 90. And they would like, in that agreement, it said that they have the option on whether to pay on a school bond or not, and they would like to pay on the school bond. So this is upcoming on the ballot in May 20th, and they want to support the school bond and make sure that people know that they are supporting. And so I think, and we're appreciative of the offer that they've made to make modifications to the 90 agreement, and we will have a meeting. Looks like May 2nd at 4 p.m. And Dave, you have not sent out the notice on that, or you?
Yeah, no, that'll be Friday, May 2nd at 8 a.m.
So where do you change?
at the
your
port.
political
And,
party at?
yeah, the agenda and the notice will be going out
Where's the girl
pretty
with
soon.
the
I got since I got the link to it and so forth.
about juvenile or something.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
5-2, so that's a Friday. That's a Friday.
So Lisa, that's just for the one agreement. I had heard that they might open up another agreement. Is that not in the works?
Next on the agenda.
Oh,
And I was, Lisa and I discussed it a while back. I thought there was 2 of those that they would.
oh, I knew there was just one of those, but I didn't realize
Two that
one
were the
was
same.
3 and one was
Yeah.
2.
And that is just the one.
Well, I think I might have misled everybody. I remember that from the conversation, but it could have been mixing in the Chris 3 one as well, so.
Yeah.
PDX 90, Chris 2, and
Okay,
that's the one that's gonna be
that's where.
revisited.
Okay.
Great.
So I'm all for them saying yes to more bond.
I think that's,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
It's a good deal.
they reached out to do that. We did not reach out to them about that.
very generous.
They want to support that school bond.
So then on Chris 3, is it okay to move the next one?
Yes.
Chris 3 here, what can we discuss on that?
Same thing, on CRES 3. They would like to, although they've not made the application to the county for, the next site. Their hope was to move forward at the same time with an agreement, on the new site. And get that one in before the May 20 bond, so that they can make sure that that site was paying in on the school bond as well. So that CRES 3 meeting will be advertised for the same time as the CRES 2 amendments for May 2nd at 8 a.m.
I guess I got a call from Kaylee Davis with Amazon, and she was talking about this too, and I guess I'm hesitant, although I of course would take direction from the commission, to move so quickly into a new CRES 3 agreement without a chance to talk about it. I mean, we're under a pretty tight time constraint, and I think there might be a need for discussion. I'm just throwing that out there. There's a possibility of discussion. Give ourselves time to discuss it at the CRES 3 board level. So.
Would it be practical to ask David to try to schedule another CRES meeting before the 20th, between the May 2nd meeting and the May 20th election. You know, if we wanted more time to look at things,
That's a good question, and it's something that probably each of the boards need to consider, and whether they would want to even schedule a meeting for the same day. Because
Right.
with an 8 AM meeting, that's certainly possible, that we could have a port commission meeting the same day. And talk about that before that CREZ 3 decision. Does that make sense?
because without an application, there's not much to discuss right now. Yeah, so.
Mr. Chair, can I add something?
Yes, go ahead, David.
Okay, as far as the agenda for that, I had planned on just putting on their presentation from AWS and not really any details, and then let the CREZ 3, either one of them, and let Amazon speak for itself, and then the CREZ boards do what they want as far as, you know. So there's not going, so far, that's the way I've handled it, because I've just had verbal discussion a little bit with AWS, not a lot. So that's the way I planned on handling it at this point. Just a simplified agenda, presentation by AWS, and then you guys can decide what you want to do from there. Does that sound reasonable?
Well, it definitely needs the spot in there for discussion and maybe even an executive session for whatever they bring, just to have ready.
I don't think they're bringing that, they're bringing just a presentation, right?
So, you don't think they'll be bringing an application at
Well,
this meeting?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't officially seen anything yet. And I mean, as far as scheduling executive session, we don't even know if we can. You know, I mean, legally, you have to have certain ways to handle an executive session. So, I mean, I would think you'd have to know exactly what they're asking for before you go down the road of saying, well, we may want an executive session, or, you know, schedule one in or something like this. That's my thought. I mean, it had been mentioned that hear what they have to say and then have the board decide where to go from there. That would be my recommendation, and not try to pre-decide the thing out until you hear exactly what they're, because it's kind of limited knowledge on my part right now.
Well, there's time to add that executive session when as we get closer. You can always add to the agenda as we get closer, and maybe you got more information by them. Okay, well, we'll just go from there then. See what they got to say. Okay. Anything else on that? Okay. Any other new business? Maybe we didn't get on there.
I guess if it's okay, I will just add that the question came up again about our lobbyists and your SCI forms. And so we called the department, we called the Ethics Commission today, and they are very clear that it's just any other private businesses you're involved with. It's not anything the court does that has to be reported. You report whatever makes you happy, but we got that answer clearly for 2 individuals today.
So you're saying that they're not our lobbyists, they're your lobbyists, and just because you're court commissioners, we don't have to write those down, is that correct?
Right, so even though you get a stipend, is what she called it, for attending meetings, it's really not your business.
Yeah.
He even went and verified that with the SCI people, because he said sometimes they interpret the rules differently. And then he called me back and said, no, it's not required. But again,
Doesn't hurt anything if you want to.
And the court reports lobbyists like quarterly, is that what you?
That is correct. We report the payments quarterly.
Right. It only applies if you personally or your business hires lobbyists. Okay, good, thank you for clarifying. Okay. Any other new business? All right. Yeah. Staff reports, project updates.
I think there's one in your packet on the lagoons. It's actually a report from our engineer on status. It's on budget, it's coming in on schedule. Things are looking good out there.
So on the one out here at 7:30,
Mhm.
give me the quick version of that. You're starting to put in the.
They're starting to put in the liners, yeah. Completion date is still July.
And then the one,
They're running after, like,
okay, they're now moving.
they're after the.
And as far as your hardware, equipment that's gonna go in there, no?
It's all scheduled to be here on time. Some of it's actually already paid for, which is a separate contract from the. Even though they're responsible for installing it, all that stuff is either here on site or will be here on site.
The projects you got.
Why don't we throw up some pictures and go through them?
Well, that's for, just for you.
I know,
Just for you.
it's okay. I do have a list, so. So that is the lagoon and on 7:30.
And what will just drive by, you see, you know, the wind was blowing the other day, so you see sand dunes out there. What are those slopes gonna look, like? Are they gonna be gravel? So like a rock wall, or is it?
It'll be higher seated,
Higher?
yeah.
It'll just turn into natural.
It'll just,
Desert.
yeah,
That one, good.
but. I'm getting a lot of calls on what's going on out there.
Yeah, I bet you are. So the other day, Jake Madison made a comment about it being so deep. What was the gist of it being so deep? Why was he concerned?
Well, the problems with it being deep, if we don't do secondary treatment, we could have some water issues.
I got you.
It could go
Just because
septic,
it settled.
because it's so deep and sunlight can't get to the bottom. So they could go septic. There may be ways to mitigate that with aeration, maybe. Secondary treatment, removing the BOD is always better.
Yeah.
Another good thing about secondary treatment, eventually, 7 to 10 years, if we don't do it, we'll be in there cleaning those lagoons. Because there'll be BOD in those. And that doesn't matter if it's shallow or deep. Shallow.
And batch reactors would
Yes.
prevent that also.
Yes.
Not prevent delay.
I'm sorry, but
Considerably played.
Yes, I said not prevent totally, delay.
That is the airport project. 2 million gallon tank and the foundation, you see there's a distribution facility. That'll be, it's on schedule to be completed by July 1st of this year. It's certainly moving fast out there. And that is PX 186 road project, utility project. We plan on paving that, I believe, next. Well, 6. That's the new well down by, the Grand Growers facility down.
Yeah, very close to the river.
Yes. They'll be feeding into our new beach that helps support PDF's 170 project. That was a big 4 by. And this is some of the highlight and heavy stuff that's coming to the report right now. Got a lot going on down there. It's keeping Walter very busy. We should be working on other stuff.
In what way? And he.
Well, every time we have a big load come in, we have to do an analysis of the load and roll off, bridging, and all our bridges going out at port. So it's a process. It takes a long time.
We talked about that before, so we're saying that it takes us more, are we asking for more money for those projects that we have to expend all the labor and
We
time?
actually have a follow-up meeting on that with the fire guard tomorrow.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Because it's not, it wasn't supposed to take this much time. It's burdened.
And it's a third party that's bringing them in, so it's not Tidewater, even though they're being offloaded at the Tidewater facility. So there's a lot of coordination, and we have to know all of the particulars about the load size and what's going on down there before we okay with being offloaded.
And sometimes we're not getting the information until it shows up.
Here we are.
So
We're jumping around trying to.
Got a handyman?
Just so you know, Walter writes a really good email.
He does.
He's kind of got stuck with all the highway heavy stuff, so, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
So what, there'll be more of that stuff coming on barges and stuff? Is it?
Yeah.
Asked that there's a video of that? A fast time lapse video of that?
Well, that's
Too much.
Sorry. You could do that.
Being unloaded?
Yeah, the barge coming in and coming off, and that stuff is interesting, so.
Well, one of the challenges, I suppose, is those loads are so big, they have to balance the ballast and the barge is out. So it's like it moves 3 inches and then they got to adjust it for 5 minutes and then my battery's dead. So it takes some time on that,
We'll
but
put the game camera up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
And then the other thing I need to report on is probably the freshwater treatment plants. Both of those treatment plants were alerted to IMCO. They start construction on East Beach 1, May 19th. Completion of that is October 14th to 26th. In the airport, they start on June 5th. And completion of that project is be November 30th.
So where does the water come from on each beach for that treatment?
It's coming out of the CID.
The ID too, is both of them coming from the,
Yeah,
okay.
both of them.
I knew the one, I just didn't know that one was.
We have water from the CID as part of the agreement when we put the pipeline down.
One other little project that we're working on is the Route Kennedy Road extension. It's actually for BPA is paying for it, but right up there by when we were actually extending the road for it to go past under the BPA lines. And that's going to be their main access into the new substation. Actually, I think we're actually going to be pretty close to that.
And that pretty much covered the maintenance too, I assume? Good. Financial update, Eileen?
You have your report in your book. We'll get into it in detail when we're going through the budget.
We will be asking you for a appropriation transfer next month. Our cash balances, the unrestricted is down slightly, but we have a $1.6 million invoice out right now, and we should have those funds shortly. And it has been a while since I have looked at to see if any of the bond funds can be transferred over. We spend a lot of money.
Questions for Eileen? Okay, usage reports. Yeah, those. Question about the warehouse. Those starting tonnage and ending tonnage, it just looked less than it has to. Is there less material in there?
Marcy's on, you can ask her.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Marcine, I didn't see it there. Is my guess right? It's just less material in the product in the freezer right now?
I didn't quite hear you, Joe. Go ahead, say that again. Ask me the question again.
In the freezer right now, than there has been in the past.
Yeah, right now we are lower than normal right now. As far as like tonnage. I know Lambs is sitting at like 64 million pounds right now, and that's a little bit lower than normal for them.
Directly related to the shutdown.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I even thought about that.
Right. And we like to, fill up into this situation.
And what is, down here, it says working with J&J. Remind me what J&J is.
So J&J is a business out of their production facility that produces like Annie M's pretzels. They do Costco chicken bakes, and they're a small company out of Weston. And right now what we're doing is we're working with them on a label for Costco. So that when their product goes in, it tells them exactly, where it came from, that it's supposed to be shipping to their facility, and then quantity and day code and all that stuff on it.
Okay, and then the last thing, Lamb Western Rail Car says increasing from 8 a week to 20 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in years past, rail cars have been.
Yes, so, yeah, well, it's not the railroads. This is the Lamb decision, and that they've dropped it down a little bit because of the matrix of product that they have coming into the facility. Because they've built a plant in American Falls, they have moved some of the Chick-fil-A product over there. And that was a good majority of our product shipping on rail cars. And then also with them being shut down the first, 2 months here of this year, we're not, we weren't getting as much product coming in. So basically what they've done is they've moved that other stuff to American Falls. They've mainly shipped into MCS, which is their own cold storage there, but they're full, and now they started shipping to us. And so we have a little bit of that product that we weren't actually going to have. So for rail cars, and that's the reason for the increase is that reason.
Okay. There's all the questions I had.
No, you should the ones I had too.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Martine.
You're very welcome.
Any other questions on usage? Okay, water's looking good. Okay. Any other staff reports we need? Okay. Moving on to other reports, Willow Creek Valley. I want to say Kim Cookforth is up there.
I am.
Go ahead, Kim.
Okay, I have a really short one. So we're about probably halfway through the construction of the little houses on Chase Street. They're dry, the roof's on, windows are in. Plumbing is done except for the finished plumbing. So we're just waiting for sheetrock and siding. It's pretty exciting. And flooring, obviously. So they're coming along really well. We opened up our community grant. It's the one that's open for about a month, and it closes next Friday. We don't really currently have a lot of other projects. We have about 3 new construction homes using our new construction grant. And I think that's about it for right now. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
Doesn't look like there's any idea. Thank you, Kim.
I also am really excited that the Kinzu Mill site project is out for bid. I'm hoping it comes back to where it's viable. Really excited about that. Looking forward to that happening. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Next is VCDA.
Our newest update is the flooring, the protection ball flooring is going in right now at the new Pleasure for the State Center. That is a VCA funded project. Right now it's currently black. I had a lot of people run in and tell me it's black, and I'm like, no, I know it's black. The top layer will be the color layer, so they do a two level, they call it. So we're excited about that. Kids are chomping at the bit to get to see that and use it finally. Home buyers incentive is moving along. Actually, with the interest rates and the way the housing is right now, we are not slowing down. We're getting at least 2 to 3 applications a week. It seems like on parents. All we do is send like, hey, give me another check, give me another check. So it's exciting to see that people are still buying houses. Where a lot of them are new people to our community. Before in the past, there was a lot of people moving from rent to ownership, and now they're just straight ownership. We have people coming out of Erie that are moving to Boardman. We have people from Hermiston moving to Boardman. We were shared a report from Leslie Pierce the other day, and average home price is $45,000 more in Boardman than it is Hermiston, and people are still moving from Hermiston to Boardman. It's interesting to see that, and I think it's coming from commuting and schools. Exciting to see though. They're coming with kids. We're gonna start working on our incubators project here pretty soon, and the chamber is just posting tons of events. The ones I really want to highlight is tomorrow at 3 o'clock is the Morrow High School District is coming to do a bond discussion from 3 to 4 for our business education series that we are hosting. That will be in the theater. The stationer just received a new upgrade of AD equipment in our theater. And we were pleased to announce we'll be able to live feed from a camera that was installed in the back of the room. It is awesome. It's amazing. We've been test running it and it's pretty exciting. It feeds into the microphone. The capabilities for the theater are going to be greatly expanded now with our new opportunity of our stuff in there.
Tori, there's been some questions about people have to sign up to get a seat.
Yeah.
And
There's no registration required for it. It's just because of the past, when we did the paid oriented leave, that one was a paid one to just try to generate some revenue for the chamber for having education series. This one is free to the public. There's no registration. Show up, sign up.
Okay.
Do whatever, just show up.
Did that get cleared up?
Yes, it's kind of shared drastically across everything. I can possibly share that to everybody out there. And the other one is on April 21st. We will be hosting that at the theater as well because we have the opportunities for the live stream. Will be the Port Morrow Commission Candidates Forum from 6 to 7:30. And then on the 22nd, we'll be hosting the Morrow County Health District Candidates Forum for the board of directors for them from 6 to 7:30 as well. We will be live feeding those, but we do invite everybody to come and be in person. So. And you got my report, and in the report that I'm now generating as I'm doing upcoming events hosted by the chamber. So we have all of our events are listed out now. that we host throughout the year, so you can save the dates and have those information available. When you type it out and put it out, it's like, oh, overwhelming, no wonder we're busy, so, and we're excited to have, Delilah back at the end of April. And we are full for the Ryan meal, so we have
Really?
15 teams each day. Exciting.
What day is that?
The 25th and 26th of April. Yeah, we moved it to 10 o'clock start time to allow, market board staff to be able to prepare the course and get organized first.
And I saw you report on the event center for
Yep.
March.
Yeah,
Am I jumping the gun on you there?
nope, I have it right here, I just, so I have it in front of me, yes, go ahead.
I just curious, looking forward, what do you see going forward?
It's busy, we had nearly 3,800 people in Q1 for attending, utilizing the facility and the event center, so we're having a drastic increase. We are pretty much hosting an event 2 to 3 days a week there at the facility now. We hosted the high school prom last Saturday, we're hosting Riverside prom this Saturday. It's busy, and every time somebody comes in, they love the staff, they love the communication they've received from my staff, they love the hospitality that's received by my staff. And the facility are wowed by it, when they walk in, they're like, where has this been? And so, today we're hosting the Oregon Wildfire Summit. There are firefighters from throughout the region are meeting there this weekend today to do some kind of training. And it's Gillum, Morrow, and Umatilla County, and they said, I think we're gonna be moving all of ours to here because of the AV capabilities, the sound, and just the facility. So, and that's pretty much the way it is every time we get somebody to come and see the facility. It's exciting. It's accomplishing what we needed to accomplish.
Yeah.
The Senator Berkeley Town Hall was kind of an initiation for the staff because there was events in every room over
We
there.
had 3 events happening there that day. We had Berkeley's, we had a training in the wall on the other side of that one, which no one would have known that if you were there. If you were in the Berkeley side, you didn't know there was a training on the other side of the wall, and that group didn't know there was one on ours. So the sound is great. I've had some conferences lately where the sound comes through the wall and you cannot hear 2 loud presenters at the same time, which is great. And then we were also hosting AWS over in our theater, and they had 180 people over there, and we really didn't know that we had that many people. My staff knew, but no one else knew, so it works. There was almost 500 people there that day. At one point, yeah.
And we realized we need some more signage so that people get to the right door and get to the room they need to go to quicker.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. I think
Sure.
the challenge, I really believe that if I was an attendee to come to a Safe Center event, I would use our overflow parking area because it's easier to walk just across the sidewalk and up the sidewalk than walking across the big parking lot and across the circle directly. So I think we're gonna work on signage and really not deem that as overflow, but event center parking and bring up that really pretty walk and through it is a better entrance area.
I like that you asked for suggestions on ways to improve, and some were given.
Yes,
That's nice.
we get tons of suggestions, and yes, our reviews are very helpful. It helps my team train. It allows us to change direction if we need to change direction. So we do that to every post event. We send a survey out. We also steal ideas from other conferences when we go there and take pictures of how drinks are set up and chairs are set up and tables are set up, and people probably look at us like we're a little bit nutty, but yeah, it's
Perfect.
all about the presentation.
Yeah, anything else for ECDA or stage? Okay, nobody here from Mike to vote, I don't think. Look right. Any other reports we need to do? Looking forward. All right. Next is pretty good in the order. Anything we heard about Hetner, so we're good in the right direction there. And then upcoming events, we do have our budget meeting today. And then our regular meeting next month with budget committee. Anything else? In between there, anything else we need to know as far as?
No, I have been asked, a couple times by multiple people about, potential uses of the site at the mill in Tucker. And I think we need some community meetings. I'd like to know what the community out there would like to see there before we start working with projects. I think it's just,
I had somebody call me too.
a better way to handle that.
Yeah, I think that freeing up the site so it can actually be used and changed, and that's a big plus, because right now, you know, it's been frozen up until now. Couldn't do anything with it, so once that's opened up, then I'm curious to see what people
Yeah.
think, what might show up.
So that's up to your gonna spearhead, or the board's gonna spearhead? and
I think
videos,
we should
community
spearhead that.
meetings? Yeah.
I talked to Kelly about it, I talked to John about it, I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah, and we can work on it, or.
Yeah, yeah, good.
You know, somebody can.
Yeah. Was there any executive session? that you
Yes.
wanted?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, we'll move on to that then, so give me a minute here to read this. Before we hold an executive session meeting for the municipal reasons stated below under ORS 192.6602. Representatives of the news media and designated staff and other persons shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience will be asked to leave the room. The public virtual meeting, Zoom meeting needs to be closed during the executive session, as permissible executive session meetings are not subject to HB 2560. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision will be made in this executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room in person and open the public virtual Zoom meeting again. A, for the purpose of consideration of deliberations with the port's executive director and other staff members who have been designated by the port to negotiate real property transactions, or 2.6602E. And B, for the purpose of consultation with counsel concerning legal rights and duties of the public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed, ORS 192.6602H. Okay, with that, we'll recess our public open meeting and we'll take a 5-minute break and reconvene. It is what time? 3:19. I'll reconvene our open session here. We've got one item to discuss.
I would make a motion that, Lisa be authorized to negotiate and execute the sale of 110 acres, roughly 110 acres at the airport. That's sufficient? Yes.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay. John moved and Kelly seconded. For the 110 acre sale. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Okay, anything else we need?
No.
Okay. Well, with that, then it is 3:20 and I will adjourn our regular meeting.